Ladies and gentlemen, this is Del K. Brereton, and this is the Shiloh Institute and the Real Spiel. Let me explain something to everyone. There's an adage that says, if you show me your friends, I know who you are. You know what? That's not 100% true. It has a modicum of truth. But I'll tell you something that's very, very true. As I say good morning to the Cyclopses that are in the building. Dr. David Israel, my Hebrew linguist, the Hebrew University, set up in Toronto, set up in Israel. Let me show you something that's really true. To the bishops, Bishop McCullough, Bishop Reginald Washington, Bishop Melvin Cross, Pastor Thompson, and all of the Emmanuel Church of Jesus Christ Apostolic family. What is true is, a man is not really known by his friends, but a man or a person is known by their enemies. If you show me who your enemies are, I'll show you what level you're on. Yeah. You know, I can be friends with just about anybody. I can reach down the social ladder and become somebody's friend. Somebody who's insignificant. Just by choice, I can choose to be your friend. When I have powerful enemies, when my enemies become significant, that's when you know I'm somebody. And this entire Diddy trial, what we are realizing is the level of this man's enemies. This man has enemies, boy. This man has enemies. And he has created them. But he's got some pretty ferocious enemies there. And when I can figure out who your enemies are, I can figure out who you are. If your enemies are righteous people, you're a devil. If your enemy is righteous people, you're a devil. I know who you are. Like, all these righteous people don't like you. If your enemies are devils, you're a saint. It's really what it is. If your enemies are devils, you're a saint. And if your enemy can't stand against you, no matter what they do, you are God. Let me talk to somebody here. Let me see who's come onto the spiel early. Thank you very much. Victory. Happy Monday. Yeah, man, it's the truth. It's the truth. And so we've got 2 weeks of Sean Combs' trial. And in the 2 weeks of Sean Combs' trial, you know, things have just, I mean, imagine that's one jury duty you would not have. They call you and say, listen, now we need you to be a juror for Puppy Show. You need me to be on the jury for Puppy Show. I'm doing it for free. I'm sure those jurors are having the time of their lives on that situation. That's another story. But 2 weeks of Sean Combs' trial, we have seen a cast of characters. We have heard things that, you know, causes us to, I don't care how liberal you are behind closed doors, you've got to be like, whoa, well, that's a lot, Buffy. That's a whole lot what you're doing right there. And you know what? We haven't even scratched the tip of the iceberg yet, I think. Imagine if they got Justin Bieber out there. A young boy that we know was sodomized and passed around for tricks. But this is what's come up. I believe Ice Cube. If these internet conversations are truthful. I believe Ice Cube was on trial, gave testimony. And Ice Cube, it's a very interesting thing with Ice Cube. I have to like really measure myself when I deal with Ice Cube. And of course Ice Cube fits into the ethos of the American system. So I mean, Ice Cube at one time, I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, seemed to be a supporter of Trump administration 1. I don't know his position on Trump administration 2. Also, we see that Ice Cube has been on a very long tangent rant about gatekeepers. He's been on a very long rant about that. And, you know, you got to listen to Ice Cube, because considering where he came from the very beginning of his appearance in our eyes, this rapper turned producer, turned actor, turned mogul of a sports entertainment entity called the Big Three. I think when he arrived at the level of the Big Three, that Big Three level, that's when this narrative of gatekeepers became very, very real to him, because they wanted to let him know, I think, let's just deal with the NBA and then move on to other things that definitely spill over, because NBA, I'm going to deal with the NBA, but before I say that, when you are dealing with, when you call something an industry, the entertainment industry, right? You are dealing with an industrial complex of systems, checks and balances, and gatekeepers. An industrial complex of gatekeepers. You have the prison industrial complex. It is not just made up of people who are in the jails. It's made up of judges. It's made up of it has a global agenda. So when you say entertainment industry, right? When you're calling something like an NBA and the NBA sports entertainment, it now is telling you that thing, you know, that little children's game that little boys and little girls play in the park, that's not a game no more. That belongs to the complex of checks and balances. It has a purpose. It has a function. It has an intentionality. And it has those who control it, who have a will and will will it to do what they want it to do. And it's not just a money thing anymore, it's a power thing. So let's use Ice Cube's Big Three. When Ice Cube started doing the Big Three, it was harmless at first. It was taking NBA players who had already retired. They did not have any true allegiance other than potentially their pensions to the NBA. But they still had a little game in them. And so Ice Cube said, listen, let's get a pickup run and, you know, put some NBA guys on the team, some regular guys on the team, and let's have something called the Big Three. And I believe it showed up during the time where the NBA was it was a holdout with the owners. There was something going on. If I could remember correctly, the Big Three popped up when the NBA and those owners were like, we're not paying these players this kind of money, and they were holding out. And Ice Cube said, well, we want to still play basketball. I'm gonna put something on. Big Three shows up. The NBA is like, whoa, what's this? Well, black people are organizing basketball with other black people, and you Zionists are not part of it, because we know the NBA, most of the owners are Jewish Zionist owners. We know that. And when I say Jewish Zionist owners, I mean Jewish in name, right? A Jew in name effectively is a nationalistic Zionist. He's an atheist religiously, most of them, but they are a Jew in name. So they say that they are Jewish. It's not their ethnicity, we know that, because it's not their actual ethnicity, but they've adopted something that they consider to be Jewishness, and it's their culture, but it's not religious necessarily. It's cultural. So these Zionists say, oh my gosh, this guy's going to take over our $1 trillion industry. It's not a billion-dollar industry. Sports entertainment, it's not a billion-dollar industry. That's billion-dollar industry. That's like lipstick, CoverGirl, you know? Your nails, ladies, that's a billion-dollar industry. Your hair is a billion-dollar industry. Your eyelashes, that's a billion-dollar industry, right? Skincare, billion-dollar industry. Sports entertainment is trillions of dollars. If one NBA team, just one, it's worth billions. One, it's worth billions, just one. You can't call it a billion-dollar industry, okay? It's much more than that. It's making much more than that. Much more. And so I'm gonna go on to something else after. But so when he has decided to put together the big three, he's now threatening trillions of dollars, and we'll talk about that in a second. The trillions of dollars that he's threatening, somebody has to stand up and say, whoa. First of all, let's open back up the doors. Yeah. Give these players what they want. Of course. What do they want? He wants 200 million. He wants 75. But give it to them because they know what they're making. They know what they're making. Give these guys 200. They want 200. I don't care. And then they have this thing called the salary cap in the NBA. The salary cap sounds like some legal. No, it's a mindset that's, listen, we have to put a cap on what these teams can utilize as revenue, or these players are going to ask for everything. So we have to put a false system called a cap to make sure they can't ask for too much. But if they ask for it, they're going to shut us down. We have to raise the cap. So they're controlling what the players can think they're worth because every team is given a cap of how much money they're allowed to play. There's like, oh, it's to protect the smaller teams so that, teams that are bigger can't use all of their money to buy out the best players. So we put a cap on it to keep everything fair. That might have been where it started, but that's not what it is now. It is to make sure that the players and the agents do not dream too big, so that the owners, the slave owners, the true slavers, can make sure they continue to make billions and billions of dollars. So when Ice Cube started that, he had to realize, oh, okay, now that we're back and running, buddy, we don't need you anymore. You were a summer league thing. You're something that they were doing in the past time. Thank you for keeping our horses in shape. Thank you for keeping our property, fresh. But then he said, no, I want to do this all the time, all year long. You don't just want to do it in the summer? No, I want to do it all the time. I wanted to make it a league. Really? Well, in order to do that, you're going to need stadiums. Guess what? We control them all. And we're not giving them to you. Gatekeeping. That's when he realized, whoa, these guys own all the stadiums. Yeah, they own all the stadiums, Ice Cube. Where are you going to hold this? In the park? Where are you going to hold it? And that is where he had to start going through the process of finding ways to keep his business viable. That is where he had to go through the process of saying, well, you got to shake this guy's hand. You got to promise this guy something. You've got to agree to this. You've got to make sure that you're not allowed to get too big. Gatekeepers. Come to dinner with us. Come to this. Oh, I'll send out my plane, the secondary plane, the plane that they can let crash. And you got to realize, oh, I don't know if I want to take this guy's flight. I don't know if I want to eat this guy's dinner. I don't know if I want to fly to this guy's island. Gatekeepers. So Ice Cube comes to the trial with a lot to say, apparently, and this is allegedly what I'm hearing, that he came to the Diddy trial with a whole lot to say in respect to this context of Gatekeepers and the alleged statement of Ice Cube, because I wasn't there. I'm just hearing this thing on media like everybody else. I'm not a juror. I'm hearing that everybody else. He points to Diddy and says, Diddy was not just part of this system of entertainment industry. Diddy pulled the strings. He was one of these guys that pulled the strings. And that goes back to a conversation of how do you get to be the guy that pulls the strings? I'm coming back to that question. Once you control a multi-trillion-dollar industry, once you control that, it means that you affect the way nations function. You are part of the tapestry that makes a nation a nation. Let's think about this. Let's eliminate the wealth of the NBA from the United States. And when we eliminate that wealth, the wealth of all of those owners, the wealth of all of those tax revenues, because we know 50% of that is tax money, the wealth of all of the individuals affiliated and associated, you take that money away, and then you double down on it. Take the NFL away too. You take that, triple down on it. You take Major League Baseball, hockey, you pull all that money away. How much money have you just subtracted from the GDP of America? How much money that is going to fund world initiatives that you and I have no idea about? How much of the NBA money is going back to fund Zionism in Israel? How many missiles were purchased? How many weapons were purchased? How much blood does the entertainment industry that is politically affiliated, because it always has to be, once you get to that level, you control nations. My proof, Elon Musk. He's at a level where he's reached a place where he can control the policy of a nation. And don't think he's alone. Gates has been flying all over the world trying to inoculate the world. Gates and Ted Turner, the allegation is that together, those two men together annihilated smallpox, made sure smallpox didn't exist in the world. That's the allegation. Why is Bill Gates, a gentleman who is known for building computers, now interested in viruses and diseases? What shifted him? And why does he think that he has the power to control populations? It's the power of his wealth. It's the mindset that he has opened up a door, and he has the capacity to shut and to close it and to open it, to lower the ceilings in people's trajectory. These few individuals demonstrate that they have the power to keep people in, to keep people out, or to let people in. And when you go back to Diddy, how do you get the power to become this type of gatekeeper? How did that happen? And I believe in the life of Sean Combs, it was accidental, but it's definitely predictable. It is accidental because a little black guy throwing parties didn't realize who else wanted to party. Who wanted to party? Well, by the sounds of it, everybody wanted to party. Oh, you want to party too, Senator? You want to party too? Congressman, president, head of the CIA, head of the FBI, you want to party too? District attorney, you want to party? Looks like everybody wants to party with Diddy. You know what? When they're partying, let's get them on film. In fact, let's put ourselves in the position that we have that film and we hold it over their head. And when they party, we know who they want to party with, because we've got all the pretty girls. We've got all the famous superstars. Let's bring those chicks in too. Let's control them. In fact, we got to create more of them. Because all Cassie was a Diddy created prostitute. Think about this. How do I run a great, and this is why he is on this RICO chart, because of thoughts like this. How do I create something that everybody wants to come to, and create women that everybody wants to sleep with, and I control those women? It's easy. You go down to McDonald's, grab the prettiest girl there who has a half-decent voice, and you make her a star, and you make her beholden to you. And she's like, "Oh, you're really going to make me a star?" "Yes, little girl, I'm going to make you a star." make you a big star. You just got to do what I say. It's pimping at another level. And you know what? When I make you a star, guess what I'm going to make you do? What are you going to make me do? Daddy Diddy. I'm going to let you meet LeBron James. I'm going to let you meet the President of the United States. I'm going to let you meet all the great kings of Saudi Arabia. You're going to meet people you've never imagined. Really? Yes. All you got to do is, treat them nicely for me. Just like do the stuff you do with me. I'll do that. And you start creating women like that. And you don't just start creating women like that, you start creating men like that, little boys like that. Talented little boys who the world becomes the darlings of the world. And now, what looks like you are running an entertainment industry, no you're not. No you're not. You are grooming your prostitutes to have talent and to be stars and to be people that the world will pay hundreds of thousands of dollars and to come into your secret quarters and allow themselves to be videotaped violating these groomed prostitutes that we call them stars. But to Diddy, they're chattel. I created that. And I created it so that I can control you, Mr. President. I can control you, Mr. Judge. And people start to say, wait a minute now. This thing is different. I got pictures of you sleeping with Beyonce. I got pictures of you. I got pictures of you doing stuff with Jay-Z. And you realize that all these people were not just created for their music, because their music, there's so many talented people in the world. Don't you notice that? Wow, you look at somebody, wow, you're so talented. You should be famous. You should be singing in front of audiences. Wow, how come nobody knows you? Because they don't need you to do it. They haven't looked at you and said, that would be a fantastic prostitute for somebody's going to want her. Somebody's going to want him. You're not groomable for the purpose. They don't care who can sing anymore. Nobody cares about that. Nobody's running around looking to discover talent. That's the foolishness that they've created now. They created the Voice and America's Got Talent. These people, there's so many talented people that you'll never, ever see, because they're not creating talent in the industrial complex. They're creating drones. It's a different chess game. They're creating drones to be used for the purposes of power. How do I get the Prince of Saudi to come over here and make a deal with me? Well, I heard, quiet is kept, that he has an incredible crush on Rihanna. He does. He loves Rihanna. Really? He loves Rihanna. Loves her. Think we can get Rihanna to a freak off? Using people to control people. And this is what they believe Sean Combs has been doing with his freak-offs. Using people to control people. Let's say Puffy wasn't smart enough to come up with that. But somebody else was, a political insider making moves. Somebody who has somebody who's being surveillance and says, hey, he's been going to a lot of his parties. Wonder if Puffy has any video on that. Why don't we call him up? Hey, this is Special Agent Smith from such and such and such. We've had somebody under surveillance. We know they came out to your party. We're asking, can you help us a little bit? Can you just give us some information? He could have said yes. He could have said no. And they could have said, you know what? We're asking, but we're not really asking. And if you don't help us, guess what? We're coming for you. So you better play ball or understand that we can pull all this down. Maybe it's something simple as that. He didn't play ball. And they said, yeah, you don't want to play ball with us? You don't want to give us what we want? We'll come take it. We'll come get it. Why do you think they came and they're looking for video? They came looking for video because they want someone else. I don't care about Puffy. They don't care about Puffy. Puffy's being taught a lesson. He's being taught a lesson. He's being taught, little boy, we can destroy your life. We don't want to just put you in jail, little boy. We're going to put a RICO on you. You know what that is, little boy? It means that we'll take everything you own, all those royalties, all your money, all your houses. That's right. And we'll make you dance for us. That's correct. You'll have nothing, little boy. We can take it if your mom has it. We can take it if you put it in your son's name. We can take it. It's all proceeds of crime. We can take it all. Behave yourself, little boy. And the conversation of Gatekeeper in the hands of Ice Cube becomes exciting, because he thinks he's got a gotcha moment. Sean Combs. One thing that we know, there will not be any more freak-offs. Now, whether Sean gets out or not, let me tell you something. The other thing about this trial is that the decision has already been made. I just want to be clear about that. This is not a trial. This is a circus. This is a show. And they're going to dance all the partners by, because it's a show for us. It's not a show for anybody else. We're gonna see them go, oh, Puffy's in trouble. Oh, wow, look who's, and it's a show, because the decision has already been made. And it's one of two decisions. It is, we're gonna show you how powerful we are. We're gonna show you that you're not playing in some situation where you have rights. This isn't part of the Constitution. The Charter doesn't exist here. We exist beyond that level. And we're going to show you that. And after we finish showing you who we are, we're going to tell you to play ball. And you're going to go back and you're going to do what we said to do. You're going to play ball, because this is what I believe. Puffy is more valuable being Puffy than he is in jail. He's more valuable being Puffy than he is in jail. And I believe at the end of this, they're going to pick Puffy up, they're going to tap that judge and jury on the shoulder and say, hey, we just wanted to teach him a lesson. We need information from him. We need him to play a role, and he's going to go back and play the role that we want him to play. Because why? This is why I say this. It's too hard to recreate Puffy. You have a system of special intelligence that individuals of power are going to reveal themselves, compromise themselves in that place. And once you have them compromised, you will be able to use all of the nastiness in their mind, all of the divisive, degenerate behavior, and you'll be able to use that to control them. And you have that system on lock. And that's what Puffy's for. He is to make sure that he compromises powerful people in order that other powerful people can control them. And that's why this has already been decided. They're not going to break Puffy up. At the end of the day, Puffy's going to come out of there with a slap, costing himself millions of dollars, and he's going to be put back right in his place, and he's going to do exactly what he is supposed to be doing, running the island of lasciviousness for the power brokers of the world, so that they can keep people compromised. Period. That's what he needs to do. Because guess what? This is not about Puffy's intelligence and Puffy's videos, and that's not. They can take that stuff. They can sit in DC and hack into all of his stuff and get everything he has, baby. They didn't need him to surrender anything. Technology has gone way too far. All of you have listening devices in your houses and on your phones, called Siri, called Alexa. Anytime they want, they can tap into that and say, oh, let me see what he's been asking for, what he's been questioning. Let's go on his social engine and say, oh, he's trying to figure out how to make a bomb. Isn't that interesting? He'll be, oh, Brereton wants to learn Hebrew. That's all he wants to do? Yep, that's all he's trying to do. He's trying to learn Hebrew. He ain't trying to do nothing. Oh, okay. We don't need him. Oh, he's trying to figure out how to make an oil that allows him to sexually exploit people. Once he rubs that oil on them, they pass out and he gets to sexually exploit. Oh, he's trying to make that. He's trying to make some kind of pharmaceutical knockout roofie, a lubricant. They listen. And they got that stuff already. This is a whole different show. And it's a show for us. But in my opinion, Puffy is not, he's not R. Kelly. R. Kelly was having private parties for himself, right? Probably messed with the wrong person's child eventually. He's not R. Kelly. He's bigger than R. Okay? He's bigger than that. Look at all the people who've come through Puffy. Puffy was what you did with everybody of notoriety. You put them in Puffy's Freak Off. Once you get them in Puffy's Freak Off, you got them on video, you got the wrong thing in their mouth, you got the wrong thing stuck in their body, and they don't want nobody to know that. And then you say, okay, no problem. Do what we say. Do what we say. And if you don't do what we say, trouble in your backside. Okay? Trouble in your backside. Simple as that. Simple as that. And they will warn you, like how Jamie Foxx was warned. They will warn you. Right? They'll warn you a multitude of ways. But you'll know. This is why Cat Williams sat there and he understood. Because he was invited in and said, no thanks. I'll stay on the periphery. So you're saying what? Once I come in there, I'm going to get how many millions of dollars? Really? Right away. As soon as you come in here, 50 million, 40 million, 20 million. As soon as you get over here, as soon as you come here and do what we're told you, 50 million. Wow. But what do I got to do? You know what you got to do. Don't worry, man. One time for 50 million? One time. But it's not one time. We control you. That's a scary thought, my friends. So some of you want to be famous? Rethink it. You want to be big? Rethink it. You think it's different from the church? It's not. It's not. And I don't care about people's name. I don't care. I see these guys now in Toronto. They went and got Hezekiah Walker. I ain't gonna say the local guy's name, but Hezekiah Walker. I saw Hezekiah Walker's become affiliated with a particular pastor here, made him a bishop and all kinds of stuff. Hezekiah Walker is also part of the church industrial complex. You think the church doesn't have one? The church has one too. You ever go to Hezekiah Walker's? See Hezekiah Walker's church? It's blocks. When you see certain guys and you realize their church has the congregation bigger than small rural populations of cities in America, you know that's part of the industrial complex. Once you got a church 20 grand and bigger, 20,000 people and bigger, you're not a regular church. You're not a regular church. Right? You're not a regular church. The mayor, city councilors, governors, they realize that you have the power to keep people elected, to get people put out. And if you don't play ball, you can become a problem. You got a church of 10,000 to 20,000 people in a particular community. That's 20,000 votes. That's a lot of votes. And plus, you probably have an online ministry of millions of people. You have a powerful influence. And we're going to see whose side you're on. We're going to see whose side you're on. That's why you see churches of that nature, they always had a great relationship with the mayor. They always got a great relationship with the power brokers in the area. And those people want to have great relationships with them. Always. So guys like Hezekiah Walker, a well-known homosexual, a well-known homosexual. He's a homosexual. I met him myself in person. I've met his entourage. Gay as canaries. Gay as canaries. Absolutely straight sodomites. and folks in Toronto are bringing them in for concerts. And yeah, Hezekiah is going to come in. He's going to have his show. He's going to sing. He's going to bring his choir. Hezekiah Walker. You're going to make money. You're going to make money. Promote a Hezekiah Walker concert. You're going to make money. You want to be under Bishop Hezekiah Walker? Yeah, you make sure you know the sodomites are going to come in and sit down and make sure that you make them comfortable. Make sure you put them in your choir. Make sure you make them associates, pastors, and deacons. Make sure you know that when you open that door, you're opening the door to making sure that gay people, the LGBTQ community and otherwise, are going to be part of your church. If you're comfortable with that, go right ahead. That's you. That's you. Right? And some of you are so desperate to be big. Oh, so desperate to be big. You don't want to be powerful. You don't want God to come down and sit down and say nothing will touch you. But you want to be big. You want people to see you. You want to be so big. You want to be famous. Famous preachers. I don't know, boy. You're going to have to watch. You're going to be careful with yourself. I ain't going to tell you you're going to hell, but you know, hell is close. Hell is close by. You want to be a famous preacher. If that's your goal. I want to be a big name preacher. Hell is close. Hell is close. Because it's the guys who want to be that big. You normally don't got much to say. You don't got much to say. And you watch it too with the prison, with the preacher industrial, with the church industrial complex. All these guys on the other side of it, when they come down, they start apologizing for all the old doctrines they had. And they say, oh, Benny Hinn starts saying, yeah, I messed up with that. I shouldn't have done that. Because they're dying now. They're trying to get their life right with God. So they start recanting of all the crap they were feeding you before because they were part of the complex. Hey, we're not going to let you on TBN if you don't say this. If you speak against this, you're not going to be invited back here. Don't come out here and start talking about gays because you're not going to be invited back here. Make sure your message is about this. Talk about this, nothing else, or you won't be invited back here. We're not going to. No, I'm not going to come here and there and offend anybody. Good. Make sure you don't. When Joel Osteen was blowing up on the airways, and they said, Joel, put a mic in front of his face. So what do you think about Islam? Do you think Muslims are going to heaven? You think gays are going to heaven? TD Jakes. What's going on? What's your position on homosexuality now? You know, I've had to revisit the thought on it. I've evolved in my thinking. Uh-oh. That's how it was. And so, different chess pieces. And you see the chess pieces moving around and around, and moving around and around, because people are controlling those chess pieces. Just hold on. That Diddy trial is going to get much, much more interesting. But at the end of the day, this reporter believes that that decision's already been made. Putting Puffy in jail, a waste of time. They could have killed him. Waste of time. Right. Puffy flies off and goes somewhere else. Waste of time. What was that called? Waste of time. They said, come back here. We're gonna do what you're told you're gonna do. Then we're gonna put you back where you're supposed to be. But we're gonna humble you, make you know. We know everything. Anyway, this is Del K. Brereton. This is the real spiel. And if it gets realer than me, I don't know who it is. Me talk to y'all right here real quick. Anyways, God bless y'all. You can take it easy. This is Del K. Brereton, the real spiel. We're gonna talk to you. Keep watching. But make sure when they're moving the shells, don't guess. The decision's already been made.